What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Jacob Daniel back at it again here at the Speed Kills podcast. We are officially halfway through the Major League Baseball season at the All-Star break. It is time to evaluate the Cincinnati Reds at the All-Star break. The Reds are currently 41-46, playing 471 baseball, very, very close to 500. I made a video about a week ago saying that the Reds would have to win 4 out of their last 6 games, and that would put them 2 games below 500. They went 3-6 in those games. They won 3 games against the Milwaukee Brewers, losing one of those in their 4-game series, and then lost both games against the Cleveland Indians. And that puts them where they are at 41-46. They're 5-5 in their last 10, 11-9 in their last 20, 15-15 in their last 30. So their last 30 games, they're playing 500 ball. That's a lot better than we've seen in the past from these Reds, especially early on in the season when they weren't finishing games, when they would be losing games by 1 run. That was really tough to see as a Reds fan early on in the season. This Reds team has a lot of potential. They're only 4.5 games back from first in the National League Central, and they're 4.5 games back from a wild card spot in the National League. I can definitely see the Cincinnati Reds, with the potential that they have, to win the NL Central or score a wild card spot for the playoffs. The NL Central is completely wide open. A lot of the teams are playing near 500 ball. The Cubs are at 522, Brewers at 516, the Cardinals at exactly 500, and then the Pittsburgh Pirates at 494. 4.5 games is not that many games behind. Not like the Miami Marlins or the New York Mets, who are 13.5 games back from first and 19.5. A lot of these other divisions are not similar to the National League Central. They have wide gaps between their last and first place team. The NL Central, way different. A lot of the teams are close. And Lance McAllister, a Cincinnati radio broadcaster, brought this up. I saw this tweet on Twitter. It's very interesting that the NL Central all have winning records at home and losing records on the road. That's super interesting. That's something to look at in the future, and hopefully the Reds start to have a winning record on the road, because I think that might be the key to winning the National League Central. I definitely think 2 teams or 3 teams from the NL Central will go to the playoffs. I think 2 of them could secure a wild card spot, and then obviously whoever wins the division. This is not what I thought of the Reds. I thought the Reds would be, a couple games at the end of the season. I thought the Reds would be a couple games over 500, and I can see them surprising me with a playoff spot, whether that's a wild card spot or a division win. The Reds now have a 1 to 100 chance at the World Series. At the beginning of the season, they had a 1 in 250 shot at the World Series, which is crazy to think about, that their fortune changed that much in the span of 2 to 3 months. There's a couple storylines that I would like to hit with the Cincinnati Reds this past season. They've had some up and downs with starting pitching. The main pitching struggle has been the bullpen in closing games. Raisel Iglesias has had his ups and downs. A lot of those middle bullpen guys have had struggles a lot. Jared Hughes, Zach Duke, Willie Peralta, David Hernandez. Some of those guys would be on, some of them would be off. Some bright spots: Amir Garrett, really great middle guy, kind of closer guy, has been phenomenal. He kind of got cheated not being an all-star. Luis Castillo, 8-3 on the mound with a 2.29 ERA, and we know that first about month and a half of baseball, he had like a 1.4 ERA. He's phenomenal. He's an all-star. Sonny Gray, another all-star from the Cincinnati Reds. He did all right. He's been doing okay, but I definitely think that Amir Garrett should have been in the All-Star game. Those are just a couple bright spots from the pitching side of baseball. But this bullpen and the starting pitching has flashed at times. They have so much potential, just like the rest of the Cincinnati Reds. Another storyline from this first half of the season: the throwback jerseys have been awesome in the Reds' 150th year in the major leagues. If you don't like watching the Reds when they have the throwbacks on, then I don't know what you're doing. They're so fun to watch, so fun to see. They've had the Cubs number this entire season. They've won 3 straight series against the Cubs, and a lot of those wins have been really good wins and really promising wins from the Reds. Like I said, they had an outrageous amount of 1-run losses earlier in the season. I was looking up stats on Baseball Reference, and they have this really interesting stat called luck, and it's a comparison between the Pythagorean win-loss record and what the actual win-loss record is, and the Reds are at -6. So that means that they lost, in pure math, they lost 6 more games than what they should have, and I think that's because of those games where they couldn't finish and it was 1-run losses. There's a lot of times where the pitching would be really, really good, and then our hitting would not be there that game. If we can figure that out and put more wins together, I see this Reds team winning a lot more games. Joey Votto and Yasiel Puig struggled really early in the season, but now they're coming up on a very good stretch of baseball, especially Yasiel Puig. I think in his last 64, 65 at-bats, he's batting upwards of 370. He's up at 20 home runs now. He's batting 250 on the season now. He's a career 276 hitter, but that's above of what he's been at in a couple past years. I think he's going to hit probably near 30, 35 home runs, and I think playing in Great American Ballpark has helped him out a lot. He has 13 stolen bases, which his career high is 15, so I think he'll break that too. 51 RBIs, scored 40 times. Yasiel Puig, we win and lose by him. Sometimes he makes dumb mistakes. Sometimes he makes great decisions like that one where I don't want to say he stole home, but there was a really bad throw, ran home, won us the game against the Milwaukee Brewers. Phenomenal. I really like watching Puig. I think that we should sign him to an extension immediately, especially with this hot baseball. In the past, we've had up and down hitters. For example, Jay Bruce. He was a real streaky hitter, and I believe that's what Yasiel Puig is. And I think Puig deserves an extension. Cincinnati loves him. We all love Puig. We love watching Puig. Key additions to the Cincinnati Reds, Jose Iglesias and Derek Dietrich, signed them on prove me deals. Both of these players should definitely be extended on contracts for sure. Derek Dietrich, 18 home runs. Jose Iglesias batting .283, if I'm correct, .282, 33 RBIs, 5 home runs. Not a big home run hitter, but definitely hits for consistency. Really like watching Jose Iglesias. He holds shortstop down. Great defensive player. Really like what I'm seeing from him. Derek Dietrich, left-hander, really good versatility, can play second base, first base, in the outfield. Really like what Derek Dietrich's doing for this team. And I made an offensive MVP and a pitching MVP before I finished this video. Offensive MVP goes to Jose Iglesias. I think he's doing a lot for this team. Like I said, batting .282, highest average on the team, and he's doing a lot on the hitting side of the baseball, hitting for average. And a lot of baseball today has become home run or nothing. Jose Iglesias is the exact opposite of that, hitting for a lot of average, only has 5 home runs. Not going to put up great numbers, but he's going to have that average and hit for consistency a lot. With runners in scoring position, I'm pretty sure he's batting over .350. Great guy to watch. Really like seeing him in a Cincinnati Reds uniform. My pitching MVP is kind of obvious. Luis Castillo, having an 8-3 record, 2.229 ERA, 124 strikeouts. He's so dominant on the mound, and you could see that every time he starts. He rarely misses on his starts. He always, most of the time, wins the game or puts the Cincinnati Reds in a great position to win the game. Really like watching Luis Castillo on the top of the mound, and really love seeing him play. Definitely the pitching MVP for this team. Amir Garrett, definitely probably a second pitching MVP if I were to choose another one. Great guy. Obviously got the Reds through some tough situations, especially when their middle and bullpen guys, their middle bullpen and closers have had some hard times this entire season. But that is all I have for you guys today. Make sure to stay tuned for more Reds content. I just want to take a quick second and thank you guys for watching this video. I worked really hard on it. I love that you guys engage with me in the comments. So if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot them down in the comment section below. I'd love to do a Q&A episode or just have conversation in the comment section. Really love engaging with my subscribers, with my watchers. Really love doing that. But make sure to stay tuned here on the Speed Kills podcast, as I'm always trying to upload quality content for you guys. Make sure to stay tuned for the next video.